welcome back to Cybertopia Interviews. This time we have a special interview in which the cast are interviewing me, Ben Newbon, the host of the show. This is weird. Anyway, yeah, we've got Jeph, who played as, well, initially Tim's, later on Constant. We've got Chris, who played as Smart Cool Man. And we've got Morgan, who played as Zap. You lot are going to interview me this time. So say hi and let's get going.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeph. I played Tim's and Constant. You'd find me over at the Big Campaign Pod.
Hi, I'm Morgan, aka Tempest. I played Zap.
Hi, I'm Chris. I play Smart Coleman, and I don't have any social media to promote.
It's the best way to be at the moment. Yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
It is literally months since we last recorded anything. So we've sourced a bunch of questions from the community and stuff as well, but we're mostly just going to have a chat, and these guys are going to ask me things that they wanted to know. I don't know. What interested you guys to ask me?
I just like the idea of putting pressure on you for a change, because you've been you've been a harsh and cruel master throughout all of these sessions, and this is where the truth can finally come out.
Oh damn! What have I done?
We're gonna pin you into a corner and make you cry. No, honestly, I just think what you've done is really interesting, and I want to know more.
Anything specific, or just more?
Who's your favorite player character? It's me. I know it's me, right?
Oh, that's harsh.
Big favorites.
Too. I'll throw a cat amongst the pigeons and say it was the mech pilot who disappeared in the end of season 1. Ha! Fuck you all. You all suck.
Damn it, the player who doesn't play anymore.
Everyone was great. Like, I've said it quite a lot, but like everyone was so individual and so just distinctive. Even before anyone got to play, even just looking at the character sheets, I've got 16 people here who have just created stuff without any sort of prompting. We didn't do collaborative character building or anything. It was just make a character and we'll play with them. And we got 16 such unique individual characters. It's incredible. We had a fucking tea robot. Who comes up with a tea robot? And a himbo hacker. And a fashionista knife-throwing diva. Like, yeah, wild.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely equally impressed with everybody. I know I've said this to you guys before, but I love these sorts of games where you have kind of carte blanche to describe what your skills are. And it's a challenge to me. I'm not very good at like the whole white paper, whatever you want kind of level of creativity. And just seeing everybody's stuff that they've came up with was just stunning, wasn't it?
And there was literally nobody I had to go back to and say, hey, can you change this? Because that doesn't work. Like, everyone was just fine. There was no adjustments needed. There was no collaboration at all. And I don't know. I wonder, because someone was asking recently of, did you do safety tools in session 0 and stuff? And we didn't really. And I guess it was, 3 years ago we first started the podcast, maybe more. And I didn't know about all that sort of stuff back then, really. Probably should have done all that sort of thing. But I think we all just kind of vaguely knew each other enough that there was trust around the table. And I was always very clear of, if anybody's uncomfortable with anything, just run away. Just, like, do whatever you need to and we'll figure it out. It's being recorded. And so there was very little kind of prep in that regards, and we just got into it and did it. I guess, I don't know, maybe there's something there of the kind of people that I've surrounded myself with, but also a factor of such a diverse group of people as well, from all different backgrounds all across the world, and that everyone was just comfortable and chill.
Well, so you wrote Overgrown before you wrote Cybertopia, right?
No, Cybertopia was my first thing.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wrote Cybertopia in like 2018. I literally played like a handful of games before that, and I wrote it for friends. I wasn't even at all connected to the TTRPG scene or actual plays or anything.
I remember in like 2020 or so, you writing the book for Cybertopia for the first time, and just chatting with you about that and what it was going to look like and everything.
Yeah, that was like back on that UK EU Discord server that we had,
That's right.
which is also where I met Chris through Wheelie. And we played in my first ever like online game with strangers of Beam Saber, which was fantastic. Fucking loved that game. That was so good. And yeah, so I'd played Cybertopia a bunch with friends from work and stuff, but I'd never written like a campaign or anything for it. And I put it up on Drive-Through RPG at the time, and it got absolutely ripped to shreds because I didn't know what I was doing, and it wasn't in a good shape, and it looked crap, and the layout was bad, and there was no art and stuff. And I quite quickly took it down and realized I need to do more for this. And it took me so long to write the campaign book and make it into something that was a bit more presentable. And I look back at it now, and I kind of have tentatively made some steps towards redoing it, but it's still shit. I look at it, I'm like, fuck. Overgrown looks so good now, and Cybertopia looks like, baby's first TTRPG.
So did you intentionally put Cybertopia down and then work on Overgrown?
I don't know. I don't think it was intentional. I think the Overgrown thing just kind of popped up as an idea. Like someone did a game jam, and I was like, oh, that's a cool idea. I can do something with that. And then it just kind of took over just naturally.
Okay. Well, because I guess the way I see it as someone who's kind of followed that journey of yours is that you kind of cut your teeth on Overgrown. Like, Cybertopia was an initial attempt, it sounds like. But with all the play testing that you did with Overgrown, and then you even streamed Overgrown once, just the once?
I did it a couple of times. It was my very first live stream thing. And yeah, no, you're right. I think Overgrown was probably where it became serious.
Yeah. I mean, you could phrase it because you moved back into Cybertopia, and I think this has gone really well. Would you say that you sort of learned what not to do with Overgrown and then learned how to do things well with Cybertopia afterwards?
Probably not. I think despite being very similar systems, they're such different games that there's probably not a lot that I learned from doing Overgrown that I've applied to doing Cybertopia. I always saw Cybertopia as the kind of game that you do as a longer form campaign, whereas Overgrown seems to work much better as like a one-shot kind of system.
Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah, no, I would agree with that, personally. What about you guys?
Well, I don't know anything about Overgrown really, but I figured I would use this as kind of a jump-off point of, you said you had no experience in the scene or actual plays and all that. And that's quite a jump to go from nothing to 3 seasons with 16 players.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a while since, I believe, your original casting call and stuff like that. How did you start this in the idea that I'm going to make a giant pile of role-playing for people?
I was so stupid. It's just so utterly stupid. I remember I'd thought about it for quite a while, right? Because there was something about Cybertopia, the way I'd constructed and the way I'd played it with people at work and friends and stuff, of being like a drop-in, drop-out sort of game. And it would be mission-based, so it would sit really nicely if you made it into episodic content sort of thing. And the idea of having it as an actual play, even when I didn't really even know what an actual play is, kind of always sat with me. And I had kind of started getting my fingers into the scene a little bit, as Morgan was saying, and making friends and asking questions and talking to people about what are the do's and don'ts about making an actual play podcast and stuff. And I did that for maybe 3-6 months or something, like just finding out how things should be done and talking to people about how do you do editing, what software do you use, and all that sort of thing. And then I went and fucking ignored pretty much all of it and just jumped in. The way I ended up with such a big cast was that I just put that open casting call out, right? And couldn't decide who to accept. So it's just like, I'm just going to take everyone and we'll figure it out from there. And it works out. There was a few people who didn't respond after that initial. I think I probably got like 20-25 people apply at the start. And then there was 16 of you who actually went through to play. So there was some dropouts and stuff, but yeah, like I said before, it just worked out. I'm extremely lucky that none of you turned out to be complete assholes or problematic or anything, because I didn't really do any research or anything.
I'm interested in the switch up from season 1 to season 2, where season 1, you very explicitly went with the sort of pre-written missions that you had from your first version of Cybertopia, and you assigned people to the missions you thought that were going to work well, to season 2, where you explicitly said to us, I don't have a plan. How did you find that change from very prescriptive to I'm out on my own right now?
I'm very stupid. I liked the idea, and the thought being, I think I'd gotten a bit more experience, and I'd done some other shows and one shots, and I'd played in some other casts and stuff, and I really liked improv basically, and I realized that I'm pretty good at improving as a game runner. I just wanted everyone else to feel like they had more of a say in the show, because like you said, season 1 was very prescriptive of me. You had your task, you had your setting and your scenes, and you went where I sent you. And I wanted to hand over some control over to you guys, so that it wasn't just the Ben show, it's the Friends and Ben show. But yeah, the switch up was very different, and I quite liked the whole thing of keeping people in the same group for several sessions. That really helped you all gel together, I think. And I think particularly the group with Ingram, Cookie, Toby, and Amelia, they really gelled well together. And I think we did like 4 or 5 sessions with them. By the time we got to the end of that season, they were all like, oh, but we don't want to split up. We want to stay together. And it's always really nice to get that sort of thing, because I think that was something that was missing a bit from season 1 because I changed the groups every mission. No one was in the same group twice, and I think only a handful of people, it was 2 of them was in the same group in the final mission as the first or the second. So it was nice to get people to have those periods where they could bond as players and characters.
Do you think you would have been able to get groups that gelled quite so well together if you hadn't done it that way in the first season?
Maybe. It's difficult to tell. I didn't specifically put you into the group you ended up in season 2. I think I just selected based on availability. So it was just like, who's available now? And now you're stuck like this for the next 4 or 5 sessions.
It's hard to tell, isn't it? I mean, I know I definitely had my favorites after season 1 and was able to play with most of those people in season 2.
I think there was definitely people who worked better together, but I think everyone worked. There was no groups where I thought like, oh, this group doesn't really work.
That's very true, yeah. Everyone was very generous and uplifting and encouraging with each other. I feel like you had a lot to do with that. Is that something that you worked on specifically in order to make everything gel or work?
No. No, again, just lucky. I don't know. I don't know how this all worked. It doesn't make sense. Like, you put 16 people in a room together and somehow a show got made and it worked and nobody fell out. Nobody got upset with each other. There was some good character moments where people would have an in-character argument or something, but it was never anything catastrophic. And yeah, it's wild it happened at all.
Bouncing off of what Chris was asking earlier, do you recall how much of season 1 and 2, in particular characters that you came up with in response to us, how much of that was improv and how much of it was planned?
Well, season 1 was entirely planned. Like, all of the NPCs and every character was taken from the things that I had written into the book, right? And then season 2 was entirely off the cuff. I had some ideas of, especially when you're waking up all together, there was always going to be a person with you in those safe houses that you woke up in. Well, also considering that we did the DNA sessions, right? And you guys provided some fantastic NPCs that then I could insert as and when appropriate. And that's where one of my favorite NPCs comes from, which was Chris's creation of Michael Crawford. And I remember doing that smart, cool man waking up session. But I remember doing that session and Chris slowly realizing, actually, no, it was quite quickly realizing that I was playing the NPC that he had created. Oh man, that was very good fun. And then I got someone absolutely incredible, Binary from the No Latency podcast, did the voiceover for Michael Crawford, and is just fucking spot on. Such a great voice actor. Amazing Michael Crawford impression. Yeah, that really worked out, that one.
Were there any improv NPCs that have stuck?
Oh, I very much enjoyed another Chris-related NPC. Cal is the best friend, the smart maid on the street. Again, I think, was that same first episode, maybe? Or first session, at least?
Yeah, there was a lot going on, waking up and then just immediately going to the gym, which is the most sensible thing to do once you've worked out, oh, everything I knew has crashed around me. Best get some gains.
But there was also a lot of kind of bit part characters who were really good fun as well. Like, there's a lot of diner workers and service robots and that sort of thing. And I seem to quite enjoy specifically doing deadpan NPCs. Just where you say something ridiculous and they're just like, yeah, okay. Sure.
I think that balanced it really well, to be honest. I mean, because we were real out there in places.
Sometimes,
but it felt like that was, it was kind of, it feels like it's the tone, especially in a cyberpunk game as well. You want a character that's quite edgy, right? But there have got to be normal people, and the game is all about this big evil corporation. And I think that was a good choice that you made, having a lot of just really deadpan kind of normal people, especially in representation of the big evil corporation as well.
One of my favorite types of NPCs, I think, is angry people. Especially when you're being dickheads, and I love throwing an angry person at you. Like, I remember in your waking up session, Morgan, where you go to like the kitchen of the diner and you start like trying to throw your weight around, and the chef is just like, "What the fuck do you want? Like, get out of my kitchen!"
It's the perfect foil to Zap as well, because Zap is very, entitled and expects everyone to just fall in line and do what they want, and to have someone just get angry.
And it was great. I think another brilliant voiceover there of the guy that I got in decided to do a French accent, Chef.
Oh, wow.
Like, what the fuck? And it just works really well. I can't do a French accent, so. And this is why I got voiceovers in.
How did you find that process of casting calls again for voice actors and getting the right people for the right voices?
Again, I'm very stupid. But yeah, mostly I've just done open calls again. I just put the shout out on the socials of, I need someone to voice a chef or a diner person. And almost without fail, I'll get a few responses and I'll go back to someone and be like, hey, you were first, here's the lines, can you do them for me? And it's again gone fairly easy. I've not really had to go back to many people and get them to redo lines and stuff. But yeah, again, having zero experience in doing voiceovers and casting and stuff, I just made it as simple and easy for me as possible. And everyone else has been pretty much like amateurs. There's been a few people who are professional voiceover people, and when I've been contacting them, I've been like, I don't know if this is right. I don't know if this is how you actually do this stuff. So tell me if I'm doing anything wrong. And no one's come back and said, no, you should do this differently. So it's, again, worked out. But yeah, it's been an interesting process of doing that. And some people just put in so much effort. It's 4 lines and they've done me like 4 different voices and 4 different takes and like so much effort into it. And I'm just like, I would have been much easier if I didn't have to choose between your different takes now.
So actually, we have a question from Dixon asking, how long does it actually take you to produce an episode?
And I think also Drew from Euphoria asked the same question. Didn't realize we'd had that one twice. I don't know anymore how long it takes in terms of time. Generally, it will take me between 1 and 2 weeks for each episode to do the editing. It is dramatically slowed down when there is voiceover to be done, because the thing that really takes a lot of time with the voiceover is doing transcriptions. Like, I don't have an auto transcriber. I don't put them into auto subtitling or anything like that. I will go through the sections and type out on Notepad++ what is being said, and I'll do the directions in the little .txt files that I send to them. It takes fucking forever. It's awful, and I hate it. But yeah, if there's a lot of voiceover needed in an episode, then that's the thing that takes a lot of time, and that can often give me extra days worth of work having to do that. But in terms of actual editing, like I remember, it's pretty similar to in season 1. If I'm just good at doing straight editing, it takes about an hour for each 10-minute of footage. So for a 40-50 minute episode, you're talking 5-6 hours.
That's just nuts. I don't think I genuinely, I don't think I'd ever do a podcast. I've streamed, and I'm good at the streaming stuff, but that's always just sound nuts to me. Is there any like resource that you've used that you think has made you better at the editing part of things?
I think it's the opposite, really. Like, I think if I put in the effort to learn some other tools, then it could certainly speed things up. But I'm still using just Audacity. Although I've recently switched to Tenacity because it doesn't have some of the weird privacy violating shit that Audacity has. But yeah, I still use that, and pretty much that's it. I just do all the cuts and stuff. And I am a bit of a perfectionist with the editing as well, in that I don't like to have ums and ahs and filler words and repeat sentences and stuff, or repeated phrases, and I cut them to shreds. A lot of people leave that sort of stuff in because A, it's easier, and B, nobody really cares, but I care.
Well, I mean, I don't know about Chris and Jeph, but I know you've definitely saved some of my deliveries by doing that as well. So no complaints here.
It's so difficult with Smart because part of the way he speaks is very much the
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like when it's most in character voices, I leave as, because usually it is a case of that filler word is intentional, or it's at least part of the character. But when it's just the player talking, yeah, I will take out a lot of the ums, the ahs, the likes, the yeah, you know.
I think there's definitely a style thing involved in whether or not you keep that stuff in or take it out. And I think it fits with the way that you run the sessions and you tell the stories and we tell the stories to sort of cut that stuff out. It's much more audio drama in that way than some podcasts, which are much more mates around a table kind of plays.
Yeah, that was definitely much more the style I was always going with for this. I wanted it to sound as professional as possible, and now I think I've listened to so many more APs since starting doing Cybertopia, and I get annoyed now if I hear, especially one of the higher production value ones, and they've got all the ums and ahs in, or they leave in some table talk, and I'm like, that doesn't fit. Cut it out.
Definitely something to be conscious of. While we're on the technical stuff, we have a few questions that came in from Dixon, and you've answered some of them already, but they're also asking, do you make your own sounds and or music, or is there a service you use?
No, I tried when I did the very first episode, the Thieves in a Nightclub episode. I spent maybe an hour or so trying to put some sound design in it and like background music and stuff, and quickly gave up because it was hard. And I was like, this is enough work as it is, and I don't know how to do sound design, so fuck it, I'm just gonna ditch it all. And yeah, so I made the conscious choice there and then to never try and put background music in. I would love to get it at some point remastered and have some like actual sound designer do that sort of stuff. But I was also blessed with members of the cast being capable in themselves of doing music and stuff. So in season 1, Valerie, who played Frankie, composed the theme tune that we used for that. And in season 2, Rev did a more punky cyberpunk kind of tune for the kind of change of tone of season 2. And they both worked out so great. I am probably going to try and get a different new one done for season 3, but I haven't got around to it yet, so we'll see.
Since we're talking sound design, so you do have a question from Sean Rackham from Gustelheim. What's the weirdest sound issue you've encountered when editing, and how did you handle it?
Oh god, yeah. So this is again going back to that Thieves in the Nightclub episode, and it was you, Jeph. It was, there was something happened with your recording, and this was back when we were using Zencaster, right, to do the recording.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, the last minute of your audio cut off. It just, the Zencaster recording, it kept going for everyone else, and it stopped for you. And so we lost that last minute of your dialogue. And I was, again, very lucky that I'd been sensible for once and done a OBS recording in the background and was able to slot most of that in. But I do remember there was one line, and I can't remember what the line was, but I had to contact you and be like, hey, can you re-record this line because it's gotten garbled in the something. And I think to go through, I don't know, it must be like 20 to 30 sessions of recordings to only have that one real fuck up is pretty impressive. There was a few times we had some issues. When I did the cast interviews between season 1 and season 2, Cassa's got completely fucked. I think she had bad connection or something, and it sounded fine when we were talking to each other through Discord. But when I went to listen to it, it was like skipping every other word. I'm like, fuck, this is unrecoverable. But at least it wasn't a gameplay session that got ruined for everyone. It wasn't like part of the story or anything. Unfortunately, it meant that Cassa didn't end up having an interview go out, but I think that was okay, to be honest. To have most of them work, it was okay.
So you've made quite a few systems. We have DNA, we have Overgrown, we have Cybertopia. Did the system perform how you wanted throughout all of your episodes, or did you have to make changes as you went to accommodate?
That's a good question, because actually, yeah, between season 1 and season 2, I did make the change specifically to kind of help character progression of going from needing 3 learnings to get a new skill to making it 2, because I think there was like 1, maybe 2 characters who got a whole new skill from doing learnings. That's like rolling in that 20s, right? And there was a few people who got new skills from turning a trauma into a new skill. And that part of it works fine. But I remember when I was doing the playtesting for Cybertopia originally, someone commented, look, I think this is going to take ages for you to get character development. And at the time, I kind of brushed it off as being like, it's fine. It's a slow development kind of game anyway. You're going to be playing 10, 20 sessions before you're going to be getting a lot of new skills and stuff. And I don't want player characters to end up overpowered. But at the end of season 1, and there was so few people that had extra new skills and stuff, I made that decision like, yeah, let's help this speed up a little bit. And then in season 2, there's so many more people getting new skills from learnings because it's only taking 2 nat 20s in a specific thing to then get that. But in addition to that, the realization that in season 1, you had so many skills and items that you could use, and the modifiers, particularly in that final, in the season 1 finale, where we were having like plus 13 modifiers on some of the rolls. I was like, okay, I need to just tone this back a bit, because if we go into season 2 with this sort of power, and I'm going to make you be able to learn quicker, it's going to get way out of hand. So I pared it all back and stripped you of a bunch of your stuff and added in the narrative of like, this makes sense. You lost things when you left Amazing Corp and it got buried under rubble and that. So yeah, really rebalancing the power of the characters was probably the biggest change that I made.
Speaking of Nat 20s and learnings, we have a question from Siobhan. What was your favourite role that dramatically affected the story, whether it be successful rolls or misses? What are some of the standouts for you there?
I can't remember. Oh, no, I absolutely do. Yeah, no, I know exactly what. So there's a few. Specifically in season 1, there were some great ones. And the Greenhouse of Error episode had so many nat 20s and nat 1s. It is the thing that I reference mostly when I talk to people about what a roller coaster of a system this is, with the swinginess of a D20. And that was fantastic. But specifically in season 1, the train heist episode, or the anti-heist episode, where Jen's character Maurice is trying to like dislodge a grappling hook or something that is stuck into the carriage and is trying to lift off their carriage. And she'd just gotten a nat 1 in something. That was it. Okay, so Maurice had been trying to unlock a locked door that had someone inside hiding or something, and she used a microwave gun and got a nat 1 and melted the lock and got a trauma, was pretty frazzled from that. And then in like the very next scene was trying to dislodge this grappling hook that was trying to lift off the carriage and got a nat 20, which immediately changed that trauma that she'd gotten into a new skill. But the effect was that it not only dislodged the grappling hook, it dislodged a second grappling hook, and then they both swung up into the sky and smashed into the helicopter that was trying to lift off the carriage and destroyed the whole thing. And Maurice's character, I remember it at the time, was so good of just being like, what have I just done? Oh my god, have I killed people?
Oh boy, the fun thing about playing a longer campaign is some of the dramatic shifts that you get with characters. I know Zap has had one, but Valerie was wondering, are there any character arcs from various characters or players that surprised you at all? Like, which one's the most? Were there any sessions that went way differently than you expected?
I was kind of surprised by the turn that Tim's / Constant took. Like the change to become Constant was a very notable kind of thing. And for a while there, I didn't really know how to deal with it. And I had to keep reminding myself, no, they're Constant now. They're no longer Tim's. And having this character that was so specifically the face of Amazing Corp kind of person, and then having them be, I don't know, like, it's not like you were despondent. Like, how would you describe the shift, Jeph?
What? The shift from Tim's, I think somebody referenced it was like nameless sandwich guy from Community or something.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, just kind of the change over into somebody who's finding out who they actually are, as they're no longer property owned by Amazing Corp, that they are their own human.
But still kind of a modeled off of another human.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it provided such a complete blank slate. He went from being a blank slate of an Amazing Corp employee to a complete blank slate. And that was a challenge. And I think, yeah, I just let you feel your way through it, I guess. And had to keep on reminding myself of what Constant is now. But I think for a lot of characters, I could kind of envisage a path that they might take forwards as a character, where their arc might go.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea what to do with Tim's / Constant.
I think that they had a wonderful time up to season 2.
I think that actually the whole blank slate of Constant just let you have those real bonding moments with other characters of finding your way and finding yourself as a person, as something that is connected to other people rather than an individual entity. You were kind of a glue between, and that was really fun to play with.
Partially because I think this one will be rather fun. This kind of ties in with that. From Dixon, from Gestelheim as well, what is your go-to tactic when your players inevitably go off script?
I think this is the advantage of not having a script, particularly in season 2. Like in season 1, pretty much everyone's kind of like stuck to the script, and then season 2, just letting you go and do whatever. And yeah, I think I wouldn't call it railroading, but I definitely tried to rail guide a little bit and keep you on some sort of coherent path. Like if you're going to the casino to rob it or whatever, trying to stop you from going off some other direction or something, or the Cookie Amelia group when I was trying to guide them towards the circus and keeping them on walking through the dark alleys and trying to see if they'll actually follow the creepy children that happen to harangue them. There's always a new NPC you can throw at someone that will almost certainly grab their attention and get them going in a certain direction. Whether it's the direction that the NPC wants them to go to or not is a different matter, but you could always motion and push people in a certain direction or not.
I do remember when we were doing season 1's Tower of Darkness, we were really struggling to work out how to go forward in that one. And it was really interesting seeing how you were trying to keep us pushing forward, because we were just like, we just don't understand what's going on. This is a real head scratcher. And genuinely nobody could think of a way to push forward. And like that was a fun time.
Tower of Darkness, that was the one with the lady who was blind and it was causing the feedback loop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think we ended up having a lower subject number 5 on a fishhook.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, Subject 5 was a great character, right? And another very much a blank slate kind of character, I think. And just the one that was willing to do whatever they were told. Yeah, we're going to lower you down the balcony into the dark cloud and see what you see. And they're just like, okay.
That is acceptable.
Yes, that's a great impression. Yeah, I think there's always something you can do to throw at them. And like when you guys got stuck on that one, and I was like, actually, I don't think you're stuck. I think you're going exactly where I think you need to be going. It was just that you felt stuck. But to me, I was like, I know what's going on here, and I'm just kind of gradually pushing you further and further into the tower. And it was kind of working. I think because you didn't feel like you knew anything, like you didn't realize you were making progress.
So Dixon has another question that I think I'll expand on a little bit. I'm just trying to get you to nail down some more favorites here.
Oh, God.
What?
We already said it, Ben. We're going to pick on you until you cry.
What is your favorite episode, story arc, character arc of the show so far?
God, there's so many. So many.
But you have to pick one.
You have to name at least one.
Okay, so each season I've been sending out to web fests and awards and whatnot to apply for nominations and things. In season 1, it was the experimental procedures one with Zap and Smart and Ingram, which was just a fucking riot. It was so funny. I remember the 4 of us all just laughing throughout because you were hilarious.
Yeah.
And I had to cut out so much laughter from that episode when I edited it. So that was
That
the one I'd
episode
send
was
out
so
from
silly.
season 1 for the awards shows. In season
Yeah.
2, what I've been sending out is an episode called Maximizing Destruction, which didn't have any of you 3 in it. That had Rev, Pan, Valerie, and Bludgeon. And they go to deal a truck from the Stellar car garage, which is themed as being Tesla. And they, again, had a riot. Another one of these ones where I was just laughing. Everything went amazingly, and then it went horribly wrong. And so many of the sessions went that way of, like, it just went so downhill, right, at the last like, half an hour of the recording. And that episode where they end up blowing up, like, hundreds of trucks and making a mushroom cloud. And it was just, as the title says, maximizing destruction. Just such a riot, and so that's what I've been sending out for the award shows for season 2.
Going forward on that, then there's a lot of silly that's happened, which is great, and been like crying with laughter when we've recorded these sometimes. How do you feel that goes with cyberpunk as a genre, which is typically a little bit darker, a little bit more dystopian? How do you feel like you've made that kind of like juxtaposition in tones work?
I think there's been some really good moments where that liberty gets brought back down and people get a moment to ruminate on what's happened and what they've done. And particularly after what happened at the finale of season 1, where you all inadvertently kill a lot of people and destroy a big building and stuff. And particular scene in the lead bank where they're sitting with Dial-Up Danny, who is like a robot right revolutionary kind of bloke. And he realizes that the people that he's sitting with are the ones responsible for a lot of the deaths of his friends. And Frankie is sitting there having known that they were like the bombs person with the bomb robots that did the big explosion. And the conversation, it has that very much of like, holy fuck, we are the bad guys, right? And like there was a few times where we're the bad guys was literally said throughout the 2 seasons so far. So I think it really comes across quite a lot of the silly and the laughing and the joking and stuff, and the overtopness is kind of the cover to help people get through the traumas that they've experienced.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of comedy is based on darkness, and a lot of comedians say that they wouldn't be comedians if there hadn't been a lot of darkness in their lives, right?
Yeah, and I mean, there was a couple of characters who really brought it home, and I think Jen in particular from Maurice, because Maurice had connections with the ARC and the robots' rights people and stuff. And so when Jen was talking as Maurice and being like, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore, like this feels wrong, like I don't like what we've done and I feel really bad for it, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, that felt like such a serious question that I wasn't sure how to back it up. Because I kind of just associate it with the very fun, what I guess would call British pragmatic absurdism. It's cyberpunk, but the feeling of it always kind of being jokes in a really dark setting is kind of what helps balance that.
Yeah, that is a very British thing. The inability to get too deep into something without making a joke out of it. Yeah.
I'm now trying to think of British properties that are cyberpunk, because they are generally Japanese or American, right? Like, are there British cyberpunk shows?
I cannot imagine one that would not be a comedy. Like, it doesn't...
I mean, Judge Dredd, arguably.
Is that British?
It is, yeah. It's 2000 AD.
I always just think of the Stallone version.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Very
people did not like that until
Yeah.
we had the new film. Well, I say new film.
The Carl
but
Urban
when it
one
was
was
just
great.
so good. But yeah, that's very British in its sensibilities, and that comes across with a lot of the kind of characters that you see there. Where, and we are talking quite older. It was a different time, but you've got like the Fatties as a gang of people and all sorts of stuff. It's all very absurd humor. So yeah.
Actually, that is really funny because I can't think of a British cyberpunk, but I can see the same tones in a lot of British dystopian things, right? Like short stories. And I can see the two British characters sitting in my head underneath a fascist regime as they go, well, the sandwiches aren't that bad. No, that's true. Can't fault them on that. And I just feel like that's a really British thing. And so that kind of felt in your show a lot of that of, well, yeah, you've got this robot that crushes orphans, but it's the most efficient orphan crushing robot you've ever seen. It's like, you're right. We've never built a better orphan crusher. You just can't top these.
Yeah.
Just scrolling through on Wikipedia now, Max Headroom is technically Cybertopia, cyberpunk.
I like
Okay.
that I've now got it so ingrained into your head that you can't say cyberpunk anymore. It's cybertopian.
It's it has done that to us. It really has.
Black Mirror as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Black Mirror is definitely definitely some.
Obviously, we have trouble now talking about cyberpunk without instead using the word cybertopia.
This is what 3 years of a show does to you.
Yeah. But Jen, one of our other players, was curious about, would you have picked another game? Like, what made you decide that you wanted to run an AP, and why cyberpunk? Do you think it would have been an entirely different podcast if you'd picked another game?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't think I'd be able to do this with a game that was not my own. Having a system that is so light and flexible just, I think, lends itself nicely to my style of improv and the ability to just play fast and loose with the rules. I don't think I'd feel comfortable doing that with another system. And like, I've DM'd and I've run a few different systems on streams and stuff, and it always feels like it's made clunky by the rules and having to refer to the rules. And even if it's not an explicit part of the show to have to stick steadfastly to the rules, even just having to consider, oh, is this part of the rules? Does this fit? That extra few moments that you have to consider anything in your brain, because this is a system that I wrote and I know basically inside out. I don't have to think about that sort of stuff.
Like, bouncing off of that then, I want to know, with all the experience you've got from running over many seasons now, how do you feel that running Cybertopia has influenced your own personal home games, whether as a player or as a GM?
I think I can't help myself now from thinking as everything in content. Everything to me in my head is like, how does this present itself? How do people receive this? Even if it's not being streamed or recorded or anything, I'm like, how does this scene set up? Who is going to be part of the season? Who's going to be enjoying this? What players haven't participated, or who needs a spotlight? And like, whether I'm a player or a game runner or anything, I'm always trying to think now in terms of the setup? What is the composition of this thing? So, yeah, I think I see everything through the cinema lens now, you know?
There's some upsides and downsides to that. I hope you haven't lost the love of the game, of just having fun and some laughs with people, not just thinking, how do I turn this into a 30-second clip?
It's less of what can I use this for, and more of how is this the best version of itself, I guess. I still have a lot of fun and I love doing it. And I love having the ability to be able to make scenes into those things so that everyone's having fun and everyone at the table's enjoying it and stuff. And I love it. I love the reactions you see on people's faces when a scene just properly hits, or when you do something that sets everyone in the team up and the GM is like, wow, that's a great idea. That's awesome. Yeah, I think it has just further enhanced those moments of joy for me.
Have you been consistently playing something sort of outside of the grind of the podcast and your own work? What games do you play that aren't your own?
I don't really play anything that isn't online now. Everything I do is now a stream or a podcast or a recording or something. But like, I have been making a conscious effort to play in more things. Particularly at the moment, I'm really loving the Lancer campaign that Keith runs for us. So I've been doing that for, I don't know, a year and a half now. And I fucking love Lancer. Lancer's so good. And I've started recently playing Draw Steel again on stream. Everything's on stream or recorded, but like definitely being a player allows me to then kind of take a back seat a little bit and chill out a bit more, and then I can just concentrate on the editing when I'm not playing.
We have from Afa, from Euphoria. Is there anything you do differently now with all the experience that you've built up? Which also, after that, what advice would you give to people who are wanting to make an AP?
This is a horrible question because I don't know. What would I do differently now? And like, what advice would I give? I feel like I did everything wrong, but it just worked out because it just worked out. Like, we just kind of brute forced it to work, and maybe that is the advice of just keep going until it works. Probably, yeah. Like, if I was to do it differently, and the correct advice would be to be super careful and prepare a lot and do research and talk to people and do a proper thorough session 0, do character creation together. Like, when I do shows now, I do this stuff properly, and I make sure I really go through the safety tools and have lines and veils clearly mapped out and stuff that we never really formally did with this show. And that's really important to me now. And so that's probably the biggest experience and the biggest advice stuff I'd give. But also, and like, this is probably a horrible amount of luck and also white male privilege talking, but just do it. You know, it's a lot easier for me than it is for femmes or non-white people to do. But find the right people. Easier said than done. Do something you care about and just keep doing it. You hear a lot of the kind of adage of something like 90% of podcasts only get to 3 episodes or something. And it's probably bollocks. It's probably something that someone's just made up. But you can completely imagine that a lot of people just give up very early on. And if you just keep on doing it, like, no one really listens to this show. I know we passed 5,000 listens recently, but like, don't do it because people are listening. And even if people aren't listening, even if you're unhappy with the audience you're getting, just keep doing it because it's fun. And that's what kept us going all this time. I have such a blast running you lot. And when I'm editing and going back through the episodes and stuff, I'm having fun all over again. And I love just hearing the fun that we had. And then doing more fun, and then thinking of the future of like, okay, we finished recording season 3, but there's so much more I want to do with you guys and play and to have the new stories and stuff. And I don't know, but there's so much fun to be had. So just keep doing it. just before we leave you, I'd like to make sure we properly thank everyone who sent in questions, because we realised after recording that we hadn't said everyone's names along with the questions they asked. So here's a big thank you to from Gestelheim, Dixon and Sean Rackham, from Euphoria, Peregrine, Drew and Aether. From the Queer Actual Play Guild, Siobhan, aka Spellbound Mage, Helix from RPG Major, and of course from our own cast, Valerie and Jen. Also, shameless self-promo for myself, you can find me on Blue Sky at bennewbon.itch.io, which is also incidentally where you can find my games for sale. I've also got a couple of things up on RPG Trader, so please go check that out and drop me some early recommends and throw some support that site's way to help it get up going, because it sounds like a really great project, but it's going to need a lot of our help to take on the drive-through behemoth. In terms of other shows I'm doing at the moment, check out the latest thing I'm running over at Pantsler's Table's streams for Pantsler's Pride. It's using a hack of Crit Core, the system behind Cybertopia. I've not written it out properly, but it's called After Death, and it's a zombie horror game with mutations and nightmares, and I'm having just so much fun with it. There are 3 episodes out currently, with the next and final one out next Tuesday, live at 3:30 PM UK time at twitch.tv/Pantsler's Tables. As mentioned during the interview, I'm also currently in a Draw Still campaign over at His Cursedness's Twitch, although that's a bit less regular schedule, so keep an eye out on my socials for when that's happening. Also, as mentioned, I'm on a Lancer stream run by our own lovely cast member Keith, who played Cookie Standard, where I play Stella, a scientist with the absolute biggest of mechs and smashiest of cannons. That's every 4 weeks on Thursdays, with my next session 2 weeks from release over on twitch.tv/KaynSD, that's KAYNSD. And finally, I'm also playing in a fortnightly game of Fallout 2D20 over on Would Be Heroes Twitch, where I'm a surgeon, Mr. Handy. That's at 9:30 PM UK time every other Saturday, with the next episode going live next week. And very finally, next Tuesday, 3:30 PM UK time, is your last chance to catch After Death live over at Pantsler's Table's Twitch, although the VODs are available on their YouTube. And you should totally check out all the other wonderful stuff they've got going on over there at the moment for Pantsler's Pride.
Hi, hello. My name is Steve, also known as Sassy Pants, and I run Pantsler's Tables. And I'm very excited to invite you all to Pantsler's Pride 2026, our yearly Pride fundraiser. This year, along with fundraising for the Trevor Project, all of our Pride games will also raise money directly for individuals from the Indian LGBTQIA+ community. These funds will be to cover medical expenses, moving fees, and other related things that they need help with. This is a proof of concept, so we're doing this manually to see our money make a real visible difference in people's lives. All fundraisers are now live, and the links in our bio are active. Please join us in supporting our community when they need it most. Here's hoping we all have an excellent Pantsler's Pride. Steve out.